All right, YouTube members, we're sticking to the member chat. If we have time, we'll open it up for non-members, but we haven't had time so far. So if you want to chat, you have to pay us money.
Well, I've also capitalists.
Yeah, good capitalist. Well, no, honestly, it's because here's what happened is when we didn't do this, it was hard to get through to everybody, and this just allows us to prioritize based off of the people that we realize, might have more of an incentive to ask the questions. And so it's nominal. It's $3 a month. It's not massive. You could even subscribe and then cancel if you just have one question to get answered.
We usually charge about $1,500 an hour for consulting, so it's actually pretty inexpensive.
Yeah, what I want to do is I want to start repurposing this into content like what's the TikToks or something. So drop your questions into the chat stream, but I've got a comment in the members only section on YouTube. I'll show you all what it looks like. And what I'd like to do is make sure that we don't let anybody monopolize the chat. So if you've got a question, ask it in the comments, and we're going to go through everybody's question once. And then once we've gone through it, if we have time, we'll circle back around. And then if we have time, we'll open it up.
Let's do it.
Globals. Very first one comes from John. Oh, wait, first, we have to shout out our new members. So new members since last week, Jay-Z. I hope that's the Jay-Z.
Jay-Z's a member?
Yeah, Jay-Z likes Solutions 8. Brenda Oropeza, John Ray, thanks for joining. Akash, Lumba, Arms of Andes, Stephen Papa, Himanshu, Toy Schnip, Benjamin Watson, Goncalo Botello, Mo Nelson, R. Burp, I think that's Robin Burpee, by the way, from 3X.
Hey, Robin.
And then everybody else was from last week. So thanks to our new members. Appreciate you. Question number 1, John, are you ready?
I'm ready.
John Ray, Performance Max question. I run an agency focused on helping real estate agents get home seller leads. Currently, we spend about $60,000 a month on YouTube ads, generating about 1,000 leads a month. I've been slowly transitioning these YouTube-specific campaigns over to PMax, and we're continuing to see PMax get better results. Yeah. My question is about multiple audience signals and how many to have. I've got some campaigns that have just one asset group with one big audience signal that includes past leads, retargeting, and market audiences and custom audiences. I've heard you guys say, though, to separate each of these signals into separate asset groups so each group has only one signal, which I've also done for some other campaigns. Although I've only got about 4 weeks of data, I'm seeing similar results between both approaches. Any comments on which I should continue to focus on, given that I'm specifically doing lead generation only?
Yeah, so for lead generation, your segmentation is not going to be as important because you're not going to have the listing groups to tell you the specificity of a specific channel like shopping for those asset groups. So the standard to which what Google is doing with those asset groups is they are blending those all together. And what I mean by that is when you look at your Insights tab, you'll see that a specific search category is probably found in all of your asset groups. The way this is working is, for example, if I have, let's say, 5 asset groups and they're all individual, and I'm going to use a product because that gives you a really good example of it. So my product I sell, I have one asset group for high heels. I have one asset group for sandals. I have one asset group for tennis shoe. And I get a search category of shoe. It's going to say, well, that's found in those 3 asset groups. That's common. Think of it like a broad keyword. That's how asset groups that's how insights are working, like a broad keyword. So for shopping, it's a lot more important to segment them out by one because you can see how the shopping campaign in that asset group to that signal is working. That is very valid quality. For lead generation, the only time that you would want to start to separate them out and see performance is if you did it by campaign. Then that campaign is going to say that campaign with that dedicated ad spend going to that audience signal. Then you separate those out well, and you can control the ROAS, or CPA, you control the daily budgets. But know that regardless of what you do, Google is going to blend them all together and find the best performing audience in all of those asset groups and signals combined. This is good though, because what you're doing is think of Google like a kleptomaniac. It is trying to steal any conversions it can. And all you're doing is giving it a big bank of signals. And each signal that you add is just widening and deepening that bank of availability. So if you add, and I'll give you a really good use case. The Venn diagram is overlapping, but the Venn diagram will get bigger. And so it's really cool. So if you said, okay, I have one signal, it's going to say I found 1,000 people. total from that one signal. And you said, okay, I added another signal. It's going to say, cool, now I have 1,200 people total. Why? Because 1,000 of those overlap, but I found 200 more. So each time you add an asset group and add a signal, all you're doing is saying, is there overlap between everything that I have now? Yes. But what else did you find? And the what else did you find, is that working? And I would ask you to go into the Insights tab, week or month over month. The selection on the top right doesn't matter. But if you go into the Insights tab, and you'll see that you'll have, let's say, 5 asset groups. You'll have search categories with, say, 5 asset, 5 asset, 5 asset, 2 asset, 5 asset, 1 asset, 3 asset, 5 asset, 5 asset. There's search categories that are only found in one of those asset groups, and that is the expansion that you just given it. So you can actually see how much do they overlap. And then each new signal, you're going to actually still see that overlap, but you're just adding 10 to 20% wider of an audience each time you do so. So that's how this is going to work, is you're simply widening the relevancy. Right? You're widening the audience size, but with still the same amount of relevancy, just in different ways. Just like how broad keywords. If I had one broad keyword, it's like, yep, that's going to have 1 million people. Another broad similar keyword is like, well, those two overlap, but I found a few more here. That's exactly how the signals are working.
Dylan M. Hey guys, best way to scale after using only a single asset group with my customer list while constantly rotating creative for 3 months. Budget won't spend, but ROAS is good using TCPA.
Yep. So I would add as many audience groups or assets as you can. The limit is 100, but add them as much as you can, because what Google is doing right now is trying to remarket too hard, and that's why you're not spending. That's why it's not scaling. It's very similar to how Smart Shopping worked. It's going to say, go after the people that are currently on my website, also in my customer list, and just try to get more of those. And that's why Smart Shopping you dump a whole bunch more of an ad spend in, the more sales wouldn't come in, your ROAS would dip, because you're remarketing to that audience harder. So you have to feed it cold traffic signals. So start another asset group with as many, and you don't have to segment them out yet. You can just do the easy way of adding a few asset groups first, but clone that asset group, and then add in another in that asset group. The signal will be everything you can find in the interest and demo, which is basically the in-markets and affinities. Clone that asset group, erase those, start another one with DSK keywords cold. What I would say is everything that you can see from your account before, like the last year, take all of the search terms that have converted that are non-brand, add those as a DSK. And that will actually say, okay, here's what the people that are typing, cold, and here's what the people that are interested, cold. Those are a lot of cold traffic signals. If you ever upload your own data, like here's my customer list, here's my all visitors, it's good. You'll front load it and it will grow out of that. But it takes a long time, and it won't grow out of it with a restricted bidding strategy like TCP or TROAS. So add a bunch of cold asset groups with cold signals to the existing campaign, and turn off the TCPA. Don't increase the budget, and you'll see it start to explore and start to convert those people.
I'm sneaking in a second one for Dylan, because I really appreciate, Dylan, how succinct your questions are and how you organized this and made it easy on me. So Dylan also asks, better to enable 25 plus new asset groups all at once, or to do it slowly?
It depends on what you want to do after. So there's no wrong way to do that, but you'll have limited control if you do it one way versus the other. So for example, if you had one asset group and fill it with 50 cold signals, and you look at your listing groups, that new asset group is going to be doing good or bad, but it's not going to give you exactly which specific signal is doing good or bad on the shopping. So if you can, when you segment them out, it means that now the control is, okay, what signal has what shopping performance? And then do you want to shut off products, or do you want to shut off that signal? If you only have one SKU, you're going to have to shut off that signal, which is even more important to segment them out individually. We recommend starting with like 70 or 80 asset groups with 70 or 80 different signals, so that I can say, okay, well, this audience with that product, with that signal, bad. And you can start to control it at a very high level. When I go to my listing group setting, I sometimes have 1,000 lines because I have 300 SKUs, or sometimes like 10 SKUs, but 300 or 30 different ways. So it's really interesting how you can segment out by control, but you have to ask yourself, what do I want to do after if I have good or bad performance?
Got a bid strategy question. We shifted a branded search campaign in e-commerce that was performing well from max conversions to max conversion value, and saw a nice uptick. But when we shifted into TROAS, we saw an immediate dip and have seemed to struggle since then, which was 10 days ago. Should we ride this out longer or pivot back? Do you have a preference in strategy, MC versus MCV versus MCV plus TROAS?
So for a TROAS, what you're doing is you're asking it to only go to the audience that knows it can convert. When you have maximized conversion value, it actually defaults to 150% TROAS, whether you add a TROAS or not. But what it doesn't
I'm sorry, I didn't know that. Where did you hear that?
Google.
Wow.
They recently says 200 now.
Wow, that's huge. So regardless of whether or not adding a TROAS, they set a minimum threshold of 200%.
Yeah, and that's why sometimes you'll run a maximized conversion value and you don't get a TROAS, or you run maximized conversion value and your actual ROAS is like 80, and you try to crank it up, it won't spend. So when you turn on maximized conversions, though, it will spend. Now with e-commerce, sometimes you can't do that. Smart shopping, you couldn't. That's what I love about Performance Max is I can say, okay, I might have a $5 sample that I'm trying to sell, but smart shopping won't actually spend because I'm only making $5. My ROAS is 10%. Period. Like I'm spending $100, make 10. I'm getting the customers I want, but I can't scale because it defaults to 100% ROAS or it decays. So with a shopping campaign running on maximized conversion value, you do have a 150 TROAS. It says go to all the cold traffic you want as long as it's over 150%. Okay, perfect. I can do that forever. And you're saying, okay, how many people are in there? Well, each week I find 10. Okay, now only focus on those 10 specifically. Okay, I got them. And then I have no one else left. You're not allowing me to go after anybody else because I don't know if they're going to convert. So I have to stick to the ones that I can try to convert. So when you remove the TROAS and maximized conversion value has a baseline of 150 TROAS, it still will though test cold traffic, and that's why sometimes you'll have good and bad performance. But if you just say, okay, instead of finding 10 new, only go after the 10 you just found. Perfect. It'll do that. You'll get the TROAS, and then it stops.
That was a good question, Jason. Thank you for that. Dave Ashley, by the way, it was Dave's idea to take questions before the live stream started. So thank you, Dave, for helping to organize the infants here that don't know how to run our own Q&A. Dave asks, if an asset group slows to a crawl or if it's underperforming, when do you turn it off and what's your criteria, in parenthetical, spend, ROAS, time, etc.? Will other groups still use that signal since it was once in the campaign? I have an answer to this that comes from Ginny Marvin, by the way, that I don't believe, but we'll keep going. If you could speak a little to how you're managing your asset groups once data starts coming in outside of adding more asset groups, that would be great.
Man, so this is a very loaded question because there's a whole bunch of it's impossible
misinformation.
It's impossible to manage it that way. And here's what I mean is if you have an asset group that was running and did better and you build out new asset groups, what that means is that the Venn diagram of overlap is still there. It's just these people that are determined to be from Google better than the previous way that they were, quote unquote, categorically engaged. So I'm trying to give a good example, but if it says, okay, I'm selling a windshield visor and I'm looking for car people. Yeah, car people, windshield visor. That's the only signal I have and where I started. It's going good. Car people that are interested in sun visors. Oh my God, ignore them. That overlap is working well here. If you shut that off, nothing's going to happen. You leave it running, nothing's going to happen. What you've done is you simply optimize that initial audience to something more refined at the same time that Google has been optimizing. So your changes, along with Google getting smarter, has simply just resulted in moving away. If you shut off that asset group, doesn't matter. It's still, that overlap is still going to be there. They're just not now considered two people. They're just considered one person. But I guarantee you, if that same person did a Google search, they're going to find your PMax ad, whether they think of it as two people or one person. That's the big disconnect that I think is also happening. Is right now for me, I have a client that I'm definitely not in their targeting. I am not a young female interested in hair care products, as you could probably imagine. But if I Google any one of their high-performing keywords, I will see them at the top every single time. 3 places in shopping and a search, and 1 PMax campaign. You're not going to push people away, period. I will fight people on that. You will not push people away. That's why Google is not yet giving us the negative keywords, because even they said they're like, you shouldn't. You should use bidding strategy to push those people away. I agree. But you're still going to have a really good placement. They're just going to favor someone else. But I've essentially tried to move away from the sort of middle-aged bald male for the younger female beauty, and I still see them everywhere. You're not going to get rid of it. What you're doing is you've simply given more data that has refined that targeting to a different asset group, because that is who they're performing with. But now you made an optimization, Google made an optimization. All of your assets in those asset groups have been now optimized, and also the attribution model of your conversions is going to also switch that. First click, you're going to have that asset group do good. Last click, you're going to have that nasty group to good. Data driven, all of them are going to have possible mediocre. So now there's another another layer of complexity is how did Google initially see them? What did you initially start with? Were the ads performing well? What did you add? How fast did Google optimize? What is the attribution model that you're using? That's 7 things that I can throw up to say, I'm not sure. The way that we manage it is usually just by the same standard operating procedure of this is still a big bucket. And the way that those people are moving to and from, as long as they're not changing asset groups and then or listing groups and then having worse performance, which I have not yet seen. They've only gotten better and better and better.
Amanda Houghton, for a multi-branded shoe e-commerce store. Didn't we
wait, multi-branded what?
A multi-branded shoe e-commerce store.
Oh, shoot.
Didn't we just get fired by a shoe e-commerce store?
Yeah. Yeah, that was fun. Pull them, save their company through a pandemic, and then they're like, thanks, you're fired. Like, that's cool.
Yeah, they just got some full stack agency that sold them a song and dance. They'll be back.
Well, it's funny, I'm still seeing their Google Merch, so I still get like, they're like, all their products are becoming disapproved. I'm like, oh, that's good.
Yeah, we'll see you soon. I think I can turn off a remarketing display search campaign for brand Skechers as it cannibalized by a PMax campaign. The audience signal in a PMax campaign listing group brand Skechers shoes includes web visitors for the last 30 days to Skechers pages. Do you agree?
Can I see it? Sorry, I'm not very good at interpreting audio. I like to read it.
No, I'm just not very good at reading. So here's Amanda's question here. Can you
okay, yeah. For a multi-branded shoe e-commerce store, got it. I think I can turn off a remarketing display search. So my question would be, is that search with display added as an RLSA, or are those 2 different campaigns? I'm thinking it's one. But I think I could turn off I would guess it's a brand campaign for brand Skechers. Yep, as it is kind of like, yep. The audience signal in PMax campaign, listing group brand Skechers shoes includes website business investor. Yes, absolutely. Now here's the thing. You can still run them side by side and they'll still perform with just varying levels of spend. So it's not necessarily 100% shift to 100% shift because Performance Max favors new cold traffic more so than the remarketing traffic, which is why I think it's better than smart shopping. And so it is something that is more Facebook-esque, pick a target, throw ads at it, scale. Because Performance Max is going to go after more new than repeat, you could still run them side by side, but your previous brand campaign that could spend pretty much unlimited might spend $200 of $1,000 per day. But those are people that PMax is not going after. Those a lot of times are the remarketing. PMax will favor new, search is going to favor anything else, which doesn't matter. Remarketing could be new, but PMax isn't targeting them because they don't know enough about that person. Again, it's what Google knows about them if they have a lot of good activity. So know that you can run them side by side, completely fine. You're going to have a limited spend in your search. Performance Max is going to take priority, but not of everything. So run those side by side if you wanted to. But what this actually should do is you'll have very good performance in PMax, but you'll have unbelievable performance in your search, just at a smaller level.
John Rollo, for conversion rate optimization, what changes make the biggest difference? In parentheticals, he has new bid strategy, landing page change, new channel, new creative, etc. I know it's not cut and dry, just interested in your thoughts. For further clarification, I want more e-commerce sales or more lead forms. Where do you go first, second? Let's try new campaign type. Let's try new bid strategy. Just curious about your thought process.
Yeah, it's campaign first, bid strategy second. Everything else is only 20% of the equation. Your campaign and your bid strategy, because you're going into a smart ecosystem, and all that means is it gets to do what it wants, is if you understand the bidding strategies, you need to be like married to them, like know them intimately. That is going to move the needle far faster than anything you could possibly imagine. And I truly mean that. The bid strategy up change can be the difference between 10% success and 80% success, like that wide ranging. For example, I have a very large client that I changed bidding strategy and I ended up reducing all of the cost and conversion value by 80%. I changed it back and it shot back up because I taught it a way to think for a very long time. And I've given it the measurement it needed, like only tracking conversions, to know exactly how to convert. So it's a much bigger conversation. My opinion, though, is the first 2 things, 80% of the way there, is going to be the campaign type, which I still like Performance Max, because I think that you are going to have the multi-channel, multi-touch engagement that you will see. I challenge anybody And I would actually, this is actually really interesting. I would say that if 10 people on this live did this, 9 of them would look this way. 9 of them would look inside of the Google Ads under tools in attribution. The conversions path is 20 to 30 to 40% of your converters in the last 7 days took more than 2 ad clicks. I almost guarantee that. And that is what people have to take into consideration. Bidding strategy is going to affect who it goes after, who it brings back. Campaign type is going to find where those people live before they bring them to the channel or to your website, before they try to bring them back. Now, I would argue that if a person is searching for something, they have a high intent, they're cold traffic, they were just introduced to your brand and they found 2 YouTube ads and then they saw a display and then they searched for your name and they clicked on shopping and they put something in the cart and they left, and then shopping brought them back, and then they were about to purchase and look at your website and say, I don't like the way he wrote that headline. I'm not going to buy. That's not what things happen. That's the rest. That's when you've optimized everything else. And then it says, okay, well, what is the image? What's the landing page title? Like, do I have social proof? Yes, that helps. But if you bring crap, uninterested traffic to that page, you're not going to do anything to that page that's going to just make junk traffic convert well. Otherwise, agencies wouldn't exist. So finding the right user with the right messaging in the ads and bringing them, with asking Google to bring them to the page and bring them back to the page, that is going to be 80% of where this success comes from. After that thing is like honed in tight, we're like, I can't spend any more. My conversion rates are 15% and my channels are optimized, and I've gone through 80 different asset groups. And I've updated my videos 250 times. Legitimately, I have 250 videos running at the same time for one of my clients. Then say like, okay, now after all of that, what else do they need to see? So campaign type, bid strategy, 80% of your value there first.
Akash Lumba. Hey guys, I had a quick question. If I have a pretty successful search campaign going on, what should I do in this case? Run PMax alongside it, but not use keywords as an asset group, or run PMax alongside search and use winning keywords as an asset group, or don't use PMax at all? The reason I'm asking is because I'm worried that the asset group from PMax with search keywords as a signal might end up competing with my current search campaign.
Yeah, anything that, well, here's what's interesting too, and I just found this out kind of today. Now, Google still stands by their original statement, but when I challenged them in a very friendly way today with examples, they're like, I'm not sure. That shouldn't be happening. So Google said that a exact match keyword in a search campaign will not compete with Performance Max. And they've reiterated that with an email again today. And I said, well, what's happening here? I have a Performance Max campaign that's spending, no joke, probably $2,000 a day on just these 2 keywords. And my exact match brand campaign can't spend more than $300 a day. And I'm trying to spend $3,000 a day with either max CPC of $10, which is $9 higher than it should be, or even maximize conversions. PMax still scoops up all of my exact match search campaign. If you run PMax, you will cannibalize everything you have running, period, eventually. So know that and understand that and appreciate that, because I think that that's where it's going to help 90% of you out there of if, when, should I. It's no longer a choice of how can I, it's a choice between am I running PMax or not. That's it.
Dude, how does Google respond to that though? Because they sent us that freaking chart, the prioritization chart showing us where PMax wins, where PMax loses. And it should have just been a big PMax logo, because apparently it wins everything.
Well, I have it in my inbox as of 11:49 a.m., which is an hour and a half ago. Same thing. Here's the trumping logic I mentioned. Have a great weekend from Google. And they are amazing, unbelievable, fantastic people. I'm honored to work with them. I just don't see the same result
I like how they're amazing. We love them. They lied. This is definitely not true.
The data that they are being received from Google is not the data that I can share. And when I pulled up my screen and I said, well, why is this happening? They said, I don't know. Try expanding into different keywords. And I said, well, that's a good idea. Like, try different exact match keywords. But what about the two exact match keywords in my search campaign and my 2 search category keywords in my Performance Max campaign that are spending $5,000 and like $300? I'm like, it should be this one winning. And she says, well, I think it was updated. Let me send you a new one. And so I said, thank you. We got the call. She sent me the new one. Still the same thing. Search campaign with exact match compared to Performance Max search campaign entered into the auction. I don't know.
Once we get negatives in PMax, we'll be able to sculpt.
That might not actually be coming now.
What? They told us everybody was getting it.
I know. And then this team was like, we have it, but we also have it in Smart Shopping. So it's like, that's interesting. Again, when you talk to Google, everyone will give you a slightly different story.
Dude, we heard from, she was pretty high level too, right? That Google gal told us every single
the same level as these people I spoke about today. One says yes, one says no.
Wow.
Well, one said yes, I was told. The other one says, I don't think so. That's not what we heard and not what has been normally happening. So Google has tools that they have internally.
I feel so abused.
Well, here's what's funny is she said, well, we started smart shopping and then smart shopping got native keywords for us and the general population didn't. And then what she said is then we got Performance Max and then Performance Max got native keywords for us. We haven't heard it's supposed to be the general population. The other person says, no, we heard it's for us and it's coming and it should be live for everyone. And I'm like, I have like 200 campaigns running and none of them have negative keywords. She's like, that's odd. I'll get back to you. I'm still waiting. So who knows? One says yes, one says possibly we don't think so. So yeah. And those are the two different teams that also work with the product team. So
I feel so gaslit. This is abuse.
That was a huge Slack. We're like, whoa, yeah, all right, high fives all around. And then yeah, it's like you won the lottery. You're like, yeah, it's like just kidding.
Dude, it's so negatives in PMax is so necessary for so many reasons. This is just one of them. Exact match is one, brand is another, competitors are another. Like there are reasons that we would need to canvas and sculpt these freaking campaigns.
You would think so until you actually look at the real paths and you're like, oh well, shit. So for example, here's one path that I saw this last week. Let me know when you see this. This is one person.
That's one path?
One path, one person.
Well, that's the 500 click paradigm they're pushing.
Yeah. Well, that's what's funny is they said, well.
What industry is this?
Hair care.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure the brand because I have to scroll up here. But it's like search, direct, referral, direct 6 more times, another search, a search, dynamic search, a search, YouTube remarketing, a search, a dynamic, Facebook. And then it says, okay, when you want to push away the brand, what did you do? I don't know.
You know what I want? I want negatives that apply only to acquisition traffic. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I need this is smart.
I know.
Hear me out. I need a funnel, and then I need to be able to tell you where to put my sculpting.
Mm-hmm. And then I was in the other part too, and I thought was hilarious. It's like I saw 3 YouTube ads today. From who? From Fry's grocery store. Do you need groceries? I do. When are they open? I don't know. I haven't looked at another ad yet. Did you Google search the brand? Yeah. Well, that doesn't. It's like, well, shit. When people want to do something, they Google the brand. They don't wait for another ad. So then you have to think about, well, what happened before that? Did they see a YouTube ad? Yeah. GSP ad? Yeah. Facebook ad? Yeah. Instagram ad? Yeah. So what the Google's answer to that is so smart.
I still want negatives. I'm not buying that.
Well, here's the way that you do this though. This is a trade secret. So I'm going to be very light. Don't give Google the opportunity to capture the people that are about to search for you. We've done that very successfully, to the tune where my one campaign will spend $5,000 and get $2,000 in new traffic and $25,000 in returning, and then the other campaign will spend $2,000 and get $5,000 new and only $2,000 in returning. I have the data to prove it. I think I might be able to share it. If I can hide, you know what? I might just let me just do this real quick. This is brilliant. And I can't share it with everyone because I think my competition's working, but if all my smart, scrappy folks out there, I'm hoping you're going to catch on to this one. So let me just share this one. Let me get to that campaign. And it's all of the old smart shopping campaigns that we transferred into Performance Max. And I have the data in Northbeam through a custom built integration through this client and Northbeam of each time a sale happens, they send the CRM data through a custom API. It took us a month and a half to build. So this is self-reported data. It's very, very accurate. So I've been using this to pretty much show all of that. It's loading. It's a big beast, so it might take me a second. So we can answer another question while I'm getting this thing loaded.
Khalid Alameri. One of my PMax campaigns stopped spending. I adjust the TROAS next day to I adjust the TROAS, then next day stop spending. I went down by 10% on the TROAS. Do I have to wait or pass and create a new one? Thanks, guys.
No, think of it big. If you put a TROAS on and it completely stops, it means it has no one that it can see. You need more time and more ad spend.
A couple more from Dylan M. Do we know Dylan? We know Dylan, don't we?
Yeah,
Dylan?
he was in our masterclass. He was a gentleman that does creatine gummies.
Oh, cool. Creatine gummies.
Brilliant.
That's brilliant. I hated taking creatine. It was so chalky. If I had a gummy, I would absolutely do that.
Yeah.
Clicks have continuously gotten more expensive over 3 months, from 70 cents to $1.10. Maybe it's time to switch from TCPA to TROAS, although ROAS is currently only at 200%.
I'm hoping that's on PMax. I don't know. If it's in PMax, what happens is you're actually just finding the channel that conversions are coming from. And it's most of the time DSA and shopping, a lot less search, YouTube, and GSP discovery. Those are more expensive networks, but usually that's where conversion takes place. Again, the things I want to focus on is AOV and LTV. And it's just a CAC versus LTV model. What does the cost acquired to customer? What do they spend for you? And then backing into it that way. Looking at a Google Ads TROAS or Google Ads ROAS is one snapshot, but you're missing out everything else. We had a client actually cut the ROAS goal in half. Dylan, hey, I just saw it pop up. Yes, it is. So if it's Performance Max, all they're doing is just testing different channels and saying, well, the conversions are coming from here, and this is what it costs to get those conversions. So Dylan, I know that you have a really good LTV. This is the name of the game here, which sucks. And I'm okay with you saying, hey, if you increase your cost or your product by $2, you shouldn't change your world, but you can offset that cost. Not saying that's going to help, but don't be afraid to, raise your price a little bit. I mean, inflation's happening pretty much across the board. Everyone's doing it. So it's not uncommon, but don't be afraid to be like, yeah, I'll take it up $2 per conversion or per sale.
Dylan also asks, is TROAS setting effective sub 300%? Heard you use that figure last live.
Say one more time. Sorry, I was getting this prepared.
Is TROAS effective if it's less than 300%?
Not really. No, what happens again, the difference is whether you're using it, let's just use round numbers. If no TROAS goal defaults to 200 and you put a $200 TROAS, those are two different things. One is of the people you know above 200, go after them. This one says try to get any cold traffic in the future, be a little bit less restrictive of any cold traffic at 200. So one is how many people do you have? I have 10 every week, or I have 10 now. This one says continue on the 10 every week. This one says only those 10 now. And that's why those things die off quickly.
I'm going to start with our chat now because we just ran out of questions in the pre-chat.
Cool. Northbeam's a big animal, and so this thing just says, please wait. I keep, each time I make an adjustment, like cash versus accrual, traffic source, time, it just takes a second. So I'm almost there.
That's all right. Just out of curiosity, dude, have you heard anything about Triple Whale? Have we played with that?
Yeah. Yeah, I know Triple Whale very well.
Good or bad?
There's a gentleman that we used to work with very closely for a very good client. The conversations were never, or very little about the marketing of the account, but was more about how Northbeam worked. So it was like we kind of had a bunch of conversations about Northbeam. And how
you would often work for Triple Whale.
I get emails like, hey, it's first week here. And he kind of let me know, like, hey, I'm going to work for Triple Whale. I'm like, that's cool.
So we built Triple
kind of odd. So there's some things in there that probably are from Northbeam. I'm not going to make an accusation. I just thought that was an odd.
I will. that's obvious. It's like, he works for this. Wow.
The guy that we work with there, at the client he's a great person. He's like, hey, I'm getting a job. And this is like after 6 months of talking about Northbeam, and all of a sudden he just ends up getting a job there. And he's like, hey, I'll put you in touch with the CEO. And they loved all of your attribution models they have for Northbeam. I'm like, of course. Wow. Here's perfect. Let's do this. Can I? Yes, I can. I have to just kill this tab here a little bit. Yay! Perfect. I'm going to. Okay, I think I can do this here. Okay, give me 1 second. Yes, all right, let me share my screen.
We're ready.
Check this out. Can you see this here? It's not showing up yet, is it?
No, I got to enable it.
Oh, there it is. So, actually, let me stop sharing.
You gotta hide something.
Partial. Probably not, but just more of a.
We got somebody on here named No Nasties.
No nasties. I like it. Perfect. So can you see this here now?
Yep.
This is so I can hover it over. See how it says Performance Max, non-brand, catch-all, old SS, old smart shopping campaigns. This has all of the signals from what I would need to get a branded conversion from. The rest of them do not. This is one date and time on the 18th. We spent $30,000 in just Performance Max. And the one.
Oh, dude, that's brilliant.
Yep. And so this is my catch-all from all my smart shopping campaigns. It says all my customer lists, my website visitors, my converters, my remarketing, my brand terms, all the good stuff. I loaded it with all the things that would get to come back.
So you use the fact that Performance Max steals to your advantage. And so Performance Max will steal from Performance Max is what you're saying.
Yeah. So this Performance Max here has spent $5,000. I got $2,000 in new revenue, $26,000 in returning.
Oh, that's genius.
My ROAS is 500% on my existing branded traffic. My other ones here, I spent $4,700, got $4,600 new, $2,000 repeating. Spent $3,300 here, got $3,000 new, $2,000 repeating. Spent $3,200 here, got $2,600 new, $1,000 repeating. So you can see a lot more new than repeat until I want them to get my repeats.
Wicked smart.
So people are like, oh, I can't exclude brand. That's okay. You gotta be smarter. You just have to instill the strategies in order to manipulate the results of the Google Ads campaigns. And that's what I love is I'm going to guarantee that our competitors are not going to do that. And I want that to happen. And I don't want them to have negatives. I don't want them to cheat. You have to actually know how to use this stuff.
Arms and Andes. Hi, guys. I'm Melissa, co-founder of Arms and Andes. We're an e-commerce sustainable clothing brand. All digital marketing we do ourselves, and we thank you guys for the great content. Thanks, Melissa.
Thank you.
Do you recommend using the videos Google makes for PMax?
Yeah, actually.
You mentioned in your past video that Google Video has been working well. We have two sustainable clothing brands that are for different audiences, but there's some overlap between them. One is Arms and Andes, an outdoor alpaca wool brand, and another called Aya is an organic Pima cotton lifestyle brand.
That's cool. I actually have a clothing brand that uses those funky little slideshow YouTube videos,
and they're working.
Yeah. Let me. I think I can share their. I'm not going to go into how the strategy is built out or all the freaking asset groups that we have. Just imagine it's a lot. But
who is it?
Section 119.
Okay.
They are a brand here. So again, I do have a brand campaign running because I will try to steal as much out of Performance Max as I can. So you see my brand here, though, really easy to spend, get a 10,000 ROAS. Where's my normal? There it is. Where's my conversion value? Sorry, hold on, let me just do this one here. Conversion value. Let's raise that up here. I like doing this so that I'm not full of BS and you're actually following a company that knows what they're doing. So branded, spend $150, make 15 grand. Yay, easy peasy. Performance Max spending 13 grand to make 65. So you see the ROAS is 10,487. But if you do this and you go into view rate, if you Google average YouTube ad view rate, average YouTube ad view rate is 31.9%. And this one here, I am getting there it is. Yep. Performance Max 48. Wow. And this is consistent. It started off horribly. I think in the first.
Can I just fight you on something?
Yeah, 39.
Average YouTube view rate is 31%, but Performance Max doesn't just show videos in YouTube. So that view rate data point is also from display-based videos, right?
No, well, that's according to Google. They said no, that's only YouTube channel because the view rate actually has to be engaged. It can't just play in the background.
That was going to be my question: is if you're just on a page and there's a video playing in the background? Okay.
No, it's like almost. Remember when you used to autoplay embedded videos? It didn't count as a view on YouTube because autoplay. Same thing theory. But yeah, I'm getting now. It's at 49.35% this last week, 50%. Now, here's the.
And if you use anything over 10 seconds.
Yes, but these are also 15-second videos. So here's the dishonesty portion. Did they watch more than 10 seconds? Yes. Did they watch more than 15 seconds? No. They can't. So half the people after 10 seconds are skipping, but it's not horrible.
Yeah, but the skippable is 5 to 6 seconds. So if they're watching 10 seconds, that means that they retained.
Then my challenge to that, though, if I was a client pressing me for actual real data, I said, so you're basically saying it's not the ads are not bad enough that they say, well, it's 15 seconds, I'll wait, rather than trying to hit it after 6 seconds. So you have about 9 seconds of pain there.
So are all of Google's slide videos 15 seconds?
Yeah. So far.
Why is 15 seconds their gold standard?
I think my theory is that they're going to be testing them as non-skippables. I think that's going to happen.
So what's the? Are we recommending people use the videos or not?
Well, the one time I've used them to an extent, I have a 500 ROAS campaign and a 50% view rate. So my one data point says not terrible.
Yeah, test it.
I don't recommend it. Don't try for it, but it's not going to kill things.
I have some calls to make because I've told some people not to do this.
I just broke my water.
I just did a talk at Impact, dude. I just got finished with a freaking keynote.
I have one use case, and that's not going to be happening every time.
That's so funny.
But that's the thing too, is like, it's don't do it. Like, here's the thing. Like, all right, listen, creative team, this is what we're gonna do. You ever seen PowerPoint 1997? That's what we're doing. Like, it's not a good idea.
But dude, it's not just PowerPoint 1997. It's PowerPoint 1997, but it's being manned by the Terminator. Like,
right. And then someone's kid at Google that's 9 years old slamming his hand on the keyboard. It's like, dun, 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 dun. Like, that's your music. It's terrible.
John Ray, I don't want to get duplicate leads, but I'm using my conversions as an audience signal. I've got about 9,000 of these conversions in my account. I'm assuming a PMax campaign is smart enough to use the conversion as a signal alone and not try to get another conversion from these people that have already converted. I don't see a way to exclude this audience.
No, I wish. It is actually a hard target with expansion opportunity So if you give it a signal, it's going to go there. It's going to go there hard. It's going to go there fast. It will expand out and learn eventually, but you will get those repeats for sure.
No nasties. We have a PMax campaign with 25 asset groups. It's been running for 2 weeks. No data from us. And another PMax campaign before this campaign with 10 to 15 asset groups, 30 days running with a daily budget of €65. But our ROAS on those campaigns isn't coming above 60 to 80%, so we're losing money. They sell soap, shampoo, etc. Low margins. What do we look at? Impressions, clicks, conversions. Average order value is €30.
Yeah, average order value of €30 is where the issue is.
Well, but it's a consumable, so just pay attention to lifetime value.
Right. Here's what I recommend. Now, here's the thing. A lot of agencies, almost everyone, will not touch an e-commerce campaign if the AOV is under 80 or 90 for this exact reason, especially as Google gets more expensive. And if you ever get into the $22 click range, like our good friend, I'm so sorry, I forgot his name. It's not coming to me. I'm terrible with names. Dylan. Yes, like our good friend Dylan here. We're just kind of creeping up to the $2
really not range. A good friend if you don't know his name.
He's not my best friend. He's just a good friend. Sorry, Dylan. But if you get into that $2 click range, you have to have a 15 clicks now before you're completely wiped out, not only your profit, but also your cost. So 15 clicks would be $30. And so that's the issue, is this is going to get more expensive. And this is going to get better, though. But those two things may run parallel. Like, hey, it's getting better, but it's also getting more expensive. I'm never getting above 80. I've seen this for years. If you're no nasties, are you running on Shopify? If you can, I'd like to share with you something that's very, very helpful for all of my Shopify folks here. It's $12 a month, but it is amazing.
Are we affiliates?
No. Probably, I don't even know.
Affiliates.
Probably. I just like giving away help. So it's called By the Numbers.
Oh yeah.
You know that one?
Scott.
Oh, we're in BigCommerce. Dang.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so what was that?
I was saying Scott from Socialite purchased that.
Yeah, I love it. It gives you average order value and then average repeat. So it's like cool. So your average order value multiplied by a repeat is your AOV. You can run it by a day, week, month, year.
Yeah, I mean, you can still do that on a napkin, though. So
yeah, still you can do it.
Dan Rosette says, "Hey, can you answer my question? I was on top." Sorry, Dan.
Okay, I'll get right to it. But just no nasties right after for this part here. That AOV 30 is going to be the culprit. I have not found a way to get like $10 conversions with rising CPCs of like $2. You're talking about 20% conversion rates, and if you falter from 20%, you're done. That's not a good area. So the model doesn't support paid traffic at this level. That's the reality of it. And I beat my head against the wall for years and have not come out with anything better. Anything I've ever tried. Now I've gotten to the point where I'm like, I can consistently get 150, 160, but that's where the LTV comes in. It has to be there. So any Shopify info is helpful. We use it. ARMS, go to Buy the Numbers, BY the Numbers. Buy the Numbers as an app inside Shopify. It'll tell you all of your average cart value, your LTV by audience. The people that order more than 5 times usually spend X, and it can export a list. And you can use it as a custom audience inside of Google Ads. It's fantastic. Perfect. So, hey, can you answer my Dan? Dan says, "Hey, can you answer my question?"
I just want to apologize to Dan and Jason. Both of them got skipped. Here's what's happening. I have a post on YouTube where I asked everybody to load up their questions. They loaded up the questions. As I'm going through it, people are adding to it, but they're also in chat. So the chronology is split because there's people that asked a question in chat before they asked a question on the thread, and I'm having a hard time controlling that. So I'm going to figure out a better process.
So what you're saying is it's Dan and Jason's fault.
This is Dan and Jason's fault. Yeah. Yeah. No, I feel bad because I don't want people to feel like they're being skipped, but I need to find a clean way to address all of these. So we'll figure that out.
Yeah. So do we see Dan's question?
Yeah, Dan says, does it happen to you that everything goes very good and you're getting consistent sales and then suddenly 1 or 2 random days with barely any sales? Why does this happen?
Yes, especially for the first 3 to 4 weeks. What Google is doing is testing. That Google said, don't actually look at the campaign performance for 3 to 4 weeks. We had a campaign not spend for 3 weeks and all of a sudden pop up on week 4. Like it didn't spend. It got like 1 click a week. And all of a sudden it's just like, oh, I'm like, okay. What happened was, now a lot of things at play here, but typically the 80% generic answer is it's going to say, okay, perfect. I'm getting DSA. Those are converting well. How about shopping? Well, that's doing pretty good. How about display? Uh-oh. Okay, well, what about back to DSA? That's good. How's discovery? Uh-oh. Okay, back. So you're doing the same thing. And that says, okay, how about remarketing? Got some DSA traffic. Cool. How about remarketing those people on display? Oh, good. How about remarketing those people on discover? Uh-oh. It's literally doing all of that at once. So what we have to understand is if you are running 7 campaigns at once with remarketing, how long is that going to take you to get pretty good consistency? Any honest marketer will say, probably a few months. That's exactly what's going through here in an automation.
What is an honest marketer?
Right. I know. Yeah. I can't tell you how many times I've evaluated campaigns. I'm like, and you're triplicate counting.
Nicholas says, tips and tricks for new physical therapy clinic. I know in the pre-PMax days, you're excited about DSA. What about today?
What's interesting is I've seen a lot of needle movement with local campaigns. Now, local campaigns are going to turn into Performance Max, which is kind of sucks.
Dude, it's doing well with Nito.
Yeah.
$500 a month at a Montessori school, and they're seeing better results than they've seen with anything else.
Yeah. I even get that with my app downloads. It's unbelievable. But local campaigns, I would highly, highly, highly recommend them. We don't offer local campaigns only because they are fairly, truly set it, forget it. There's no targeting. There's no geography. It just goes off your GMB, but I swear those things are little engines that could. Like, holy crap, they're amazing. So my opinion, before you pay an agency, before you try any kind of ninja secret sauce, run a good solid local campaign. We have a video on your YouTube channel how to launch one. It's that simple. They are amazing though. So seriously, I highly, highly recommend it.
Nick Miller, for lead gen, what attribution window do you use? 90 days or shorter, using DDA rather than time decay now that PMax is here?
I use first click for lead generation. Last click is always going to be your brand. Your data driven is going to be 50-50. I always use first click for lead generation. Reason being is I also normally have Northbeam installed, so I can see kind of what happened. But the first click allows me to effectively rebuild and build out new asset groups or new campaigns or new asset groups based on what I'm seeing first, not what I'm seeing in the middle or what I'm seeing last. Usually first is you can still replicate that same model because your funnel didn't change. You're just bringing in more conversions where they started. So I usually use first click. Do we get Jason's question?
I'm going down the line.
Oh, you said Jason James said he got his question passed too. I wasn't sure.
With the high ticket e-commerce store, gym equipment, and often 2 weeks to conversions, how many days of no sales in PMax before I should hit the panic button and try something else?
3 months.
It's a lot of days.
It is. I'm not even joking on that one. If you're saying before I switch, here's the thing. I have yet to see Performance Max do less than anything else I've ever tried. So I would say, honestly, 3 months is a really fair test. You're thinking about 2 weeks worth of testing kind of per channel. And then Google has to see that and then start to replicate it. So says I'm 4.5 weeks into a new campaign that's losing money. 3 months, okay. I'm beginning of month 2. 3 months is kind of like am I starting to see signs of life? That's the thing. High ticket, long lag. It's expensive. It sucks. And I don't recommend them because of the issue. If you're trying to do this on like, hey, a budget or this works, like I would push away clients because of that. And then I'd also say, where else can they buy? Where are my competitive alternatives? Because you do it for 3.5 months and it still doesn't work. And then find out later, well, there's a very similar product on Amazon that is eating my lunch. You never were going to be successful at the beginning. But if you have competition that is equally unique selling proposition, unique value proposition, uniquely priced, or has convinced an audience that they are uniquely different than yours for cheaper, it might come down to price. And that's the part that is horrible is after 4.5 weeks, should we keep TROAS? No, run 3 months wide open. No TROAS, no TCPA. Run it wide open. Because what you're doing is Google found an audience and it thinks, and it's just going to try to beat the crap out of that same audience forever. It's not going to expand out into new. So first 90 days, and this is something that we've been saying this for about a year or two. First 90 days, never run TROAS, never run TCPA, leave it wide open. Let the algorithm learn. You run TROAS and TCPA when you say, I love this performance, get me exactly that for as long as you can. If you don't love the performance, don't run TCPA or TROAS because you're going to get the exact same. Otherwise, the campaign's going to die. It doesn't go after new audiences that are magically going to convert better. It doesn't work that way. Google buys first, focuses. It doesn't do nothing then focus.
We're doing the strategy you guys recommended in hyper segmenting our categories for our shirts. What would be the next step after a week? Should we remove poor performing assets or turn off certain asset groups?
Well, your assets are actually not going to be poor performing after a week yet. After about a month, you're going to see the asset groups don't give you a result and then stay a result. I've seen campaigns that have low performing assets turn into good performing assets, turn into best performing assets with just time because it has more conversions and it's getting smarter and optimizing. So in the first month or two, don't touch it. Don't touch it. That's Section 119 campaign that I shared with you. I went from 350 ROAS to 500 ROAS in 3 weeks without touching it once and just letting it do its thing. So that's what you have to think about is you're taking a kid in school and it's like, hey, that kid did really good in 2nd grade and now it's going to go into 3rd grade. How do I get them to 5th?
You're a horrible father.
It has to learn, period.
You a doctor yet?
Right. Doctor. So you can set it up in the best way possible, but you need to give this time and know that as this progresses, you're going to see those results change as well internally. So again, time is more important now than anything else. We thought smart shopping took a long time. This takes 3 times longer. But when you set up the right way, you don't touch it, you don't mess with it, and you don't interrupt. Remember that sequence I was telling you where it's like, hey, these people took like 27 times before they converted. You're trying to say like, well, what if the path 14 was different? We have to give this a lot of time to find that good consistency. If you have 5 sales and a low performing asset, after 10, it could be your best. But if you swap that out, you just delayed this longer. And now you don't have a result, and now it's not getting better, and you're wondering what's going on. So just know that this thing does take time.
We got 5 minutes. You want to try to rapid fire?
Yeah, I think I still have 30 minutes. Or actually, another 20 minutes if you do. I don't know if you're free.
What do I got going?
Oh, you got a meeting.
I have to jet, but I can just hand controls over to you, I think.
Yeah, well, I have to do an evaluation, so right because I go too. But let's rapid fire as fast as possible.
Ben starts. Love you guys. I'm running smart shopping only for a long time now, and I want to upgrade to Performance Max. Should I start it with my smart shopping until he dies and pause it after?
Run Performance Max at the same exact ad spend as your existing smart shopping campaign. You will see the budget switch over. You're gonna see some wonkiness too. It's gonna be like, for smart shopping did $0, then it did $100, then it did $0, then it did $100, and then it'll just flatline. So you're gonna have some transitioning period of oddities for days. Just let it go, and then one will die, and then continue on with Performance Max. But don't shut up smart shopping and then launch Performance Max because you're gonna stop remarketing and start cold. Bad idea.
Please help with asset grouping for pet categories and signals.
Say it one more time.
Please help with asset grouping for pet categories and signals.
1 asset group per category. Replicate that asset group 4 times. 1 signal per replication. You're gonna end up with like 80.
We did the hyper segmenting thing, right? Arms
Yep.
of Andes. When we hyper segmented for our shirts, V-necks, long sleeves, etc., we did one keyword for an ad set and another keyword for another ad set. Is that too hyper segmented?
Not all. They're going to overlap, but Google's going to choose the one that performs best. Which all that means is one of those things that overlap, perform better. You shut the other one off. Yay, we win.
I got 2 more questions over here.
Yeah, let's do this here. I'm going to just give you that section 119. I'll just give you a quick little brief snapshot into this. And this is where you're going to see some really fun stuff.
So while you're doing that, Arms of Andes is saying during the 3 months of not touching anything, that also means not adding any new asset groups or assets.
Right. Well, you can. It might have a better or worse performance. So if you're seeing it get better and you start adding it's better, keep going. Here's what's interesting. So you see board shorts, board shorts around here again. Let me just do this here. Well, check this out. This is the last 7 days. So board shorts to this audience, $4.95. Board shorts to my converters, $174. Board shorts to my interest demo, $281. Board shorts to my converter terms, $217. I found a winner. Now this flip flops a little bit over week, month over month, but that's what the capabilities you have now.
We have 47 products and over 647 SKUs, variants according to size and colors. What budget do you recommend?
47 products, $300 a day.
I was going to say $5,000 a month. You win. Are doing the strategy you guys mentioned. Oh no, we already answered that one. Cool. I think we did it. Did we miss anybody?
Again? Yeah, I think I want to make sure Arms Advantage during 3 months of not touching PMax campaigns, that means not adding anymore. Here's what I would say is unless you have a very strong, overwhelming signal that you just need to dive into, I wouldn't, because the signals also change. But if you find that week one, this one signal, like the audience signal inside your insights tab is like, it's 80% of my conversion has an index of 10 and everything else is like kind of flip-flopping, build another asset group for that audience as a signal. That's safe to do. If there's like overwhelming good performance in an area, yes. But it'll be like, this one looked a little bit better. This week we'll add that, because the next week when it dips, you're going to see it go down. So know that your insights are also fluctuating. So you're looking for commonalities. These 9 chains, this one stays constant. Perfect. There's your target.
Perfect. We had 2 new members, by the way. We've got Jason James and Hassan Aman. Dude, I'm just going to go out on a limb and say that this is always going to be members only chat. We're never going to run out of questions. And y'all, I'm sorry that the Q&A process is disjointed. I'll figure out a better way to approach it.
That's cool. I just became a member. I will shoot my mediocre GMC questions to the next Q&A, please. Congrats. Thanks, man. Thanks for becoming a member. That's so fun. It's funny. It's like, it's not about the money. It's not money related. It's nice that it organizes it. I'm sorry that there's money involved, but it's just nice to be able to kind of have like a really good group of people that are like really wanting to make this work. It's fun.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Every Friday, 1 o'clock. What are we saying? 1 o'clock Pacific?
Yeah, 1 o'clock PST until we change to 1 o'clock MST.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. Every Friday, 1 o'clock PST for now. Appreciate everybody who's a member. Thank you all. Subscribe to our channel. Tell everybody we're the best at Google. Love you. Goodbye.